Hi, it's Christina with the Sisyphean Journal, and today kind of underscores why I look every year for updated information. Because the case of 32-year-old Rita Shea, who died December 4th, 1965, the original coverage I had led me to think that a man that was involved in her abortion actually was involved in another abortion that took place, the same day. So let me give you a little bit of background. Rita Shea was 32 years old, and she worked as a part-time receptionist at a doctor's office. She lived in a Long Island, New York apartment building, and she had dropped her married name, which I can't even guess how to pronounce, Gaus, after having been either divorced or separated 14 years earlier. Now, her close friend, Rodna O'Connell, and sometimes she's named in newspapers as Rhonda, but no, it is Rodna, R-O-D-N-A. Rodna O'Connell was Rita's friend. She lived in Far Rockaway, and she worked at a car rental agency at Kennedy Airport. Now, the earlier news pieces that I had been able to find made it seem like Rita had gotten pregnant while having an affair with Howard Bailey, a 19-year veteran of the Queens police force, because he was arrested and prosecuted. And it said that he was paying for an abortion to cover up an affair. Turns out the abortion he paid for was to cover up an affair with a 22-year-old separated woman who was also friends with Rodna O'Connell. So Rodna had apparently arranged for this guy, Benjamin Lockhart, to come from Houston, Texas, to do these two abortions in a motel room near the airport. And that appears to be where Rita and the Queens patrol officer crossed paths. I still don't know what his involvement might have been in Rita's abortion. Now, the 22-year-old whose abortion he arranged, she survived. She was known to the police, but she was not named in any news coverage, and she was not prosecuted for anything, even though she kind of was guilty in setting up this whole illegal abortion portable clinic, if you will, where Rita ended up dying. So exactly who is Benjamin Lockhart? Well, he was 34 years old, but it's unclear whether he was a doctor or just a medical student. He's identified sometimes as a medical student, sometimes as a doctor. Probably he was a resident, and thus was able to use doctor in his name, but he wasn't legally allowed to practice unsupervised. Be that as it may, Rita and Rodna drove in Rita's car to the hotel near the airport where Rodna worked, and there they met Lockhart. Now, he started the abortion on Rita at about 4 a.m., and she died suddenly during the procedure. At around 5 a.m., Rodna and Lockhart carried Rita's body out to her car. They drove it back to her apartment building and left it parked outside the building with her dead body slumped over the steering wheel. So that morning, a man named John Hickey, 38-year-old bartender who lived in the same apartment building, he was leaving the apartment building at 10 o'clock that morning, and he found her body. In some coverage, he was described as her boyfriend, so it's possible that he was the baby's father. He had just found a note from Rita the previous evening saying she'd be back in a few hours. I haven't been able to find out if he knew anything about the abortion or not. So, Rodna was arraigned and charged with conspiracy to commit an abortion and held on $5,000 bail. Bailey was suspended from the police force. He was 42 years old, married, had I think 4 kids, and he paid the abortion fee, which it's been hard to find out how much that was. So he was charged with abortion and conspiring to conceal knowledge of an abortion. Then, I guess, trying to get back onto people's good graces, he said that after his arrest and suspension, he got a call from somebody saying that for $1,000, she could take care of any witnesses against him. So he reported the call to a detective. He got a second call saying, and he said he could accept the offer, but he could only pull together $700, not $1,000. So the woman said to put the money in an envelope, take it to Pennsylvania Station at 12:30, and put it in a particular locker. Police had traced the call to a phone booth near Menlo Park, New Jersey. So they helped Bailey prepare a faked envelope with paper inside instead of currency, and they staked out the bus station. And at 1 p.m., Victor Gentz, who was a 23-year-old morgue attendant from near Menlo Park, opened the locker and took the envelope. When the police came to arrest him, he ran. They gave chase. They got him. He said that a woman had given him $5 to collect the envelope, but he only had a single $10 bill and Bailey's phone number in his wallet. He refused to say anything. He was held on $3,000 bail on a grand larceny charge. Now, the charges against Howard and Rodna, Howard Bailey, the patrolman, and Rodna, the go-between, who arranged both the fatal and the non-fatal abortion, their charges were dropped in exchange for testifying against Lockhart, but then the charges against Lockhart were dropped because of lack of evidence, so nobody was ever brought to justice for Rita's death.